Chalo, sir. So again, very good evening to everyone, and I hope I'm audible as well as visible to everybody. You guys can see me, hear me clearly, right? Now, with that being said, let us start with our class for today. So in today's class, we will talk about trigonometry. So this is part of the same series where I'm discussing each chapter every week. So here today actually I have taken more than a chapter. I have taken a whole topic. I have taken the whole trigonometry because I felt this is something that is very important that needs to be discussed properly. Now trigonometry mainly has three parts in it. It has three parts mainly. So you can say first is ratio, then comes identity, then comes the height and distance. These are the three main parts that you need to prepare. You get questions. Now, height and distance. Now, weightage. Coming to weightages, sir. From height and distance, you will surely get a question. 100%. Both in prelims as well as in mains. Similarly, ratio and identities. But again, while preparing, sir, ratio concept, when you prepare for this, same concept will be used in this. But again, it will, if you learn from me, I generally go in a different way. I generally go with the 30, 60, 90 triangle, 45, 45, 90 triangle, but still, you need the basics of ratio for this as well, because the ratios of the sides come from basic trigonometry ratio as well. Now, same identities also have a few subtopics in it. That also you need to know. But before that, first thing that is very important is how much importance does it have? How much of the importance does it have in your actual exam? Right? Trigonometry really deserve how much of your time? Because you see, this is why I've made the PPTs in a different way. Please understand. This is not your chapter anymore. This is not, we are not talking about a chapter. Let's say profit loss, let's say average as last week, let's say percentage. This is a whole topic. Trigonometry, it means almost 3 to 4 chapters. If you take different like chapters as a whole, almost 15 to 20 classes. I take almost 20 classes on like trigonometry. So this is a whole topic. So you need to give, because please understand how much this will have a significant weightage. So let me show you that first. Let me show you that first. Sir, tier 1 as well as in tier 2, especially in tier 2, you'll have multiple number of questions. If you go into the this thing, 2 to 3 questions is the most common range that you can take. You will have this. In tier 1, most common range is 2 to 3. But again, there are shifts where they only ask 1, which is very rare. But again, there are shifts you can expect 4 questions, like including height and distance. I'm talking about this. So this is the range of like trigonometry. Okay? Now, apart from that, so definitely you have to level up while like you level up in your game while you are going from tier 1 to tier 2. And how to do that? Now let us just go into the like this basic parts, the basic parts, height and distance and the basic trigonometry. So let me just go into that little topics, sir, as I do every week, sir. You see, I have divided the whole thing in 5 different chapters, topics. First is the basics of ratios. So this will consist of the basic 6 ratios: sine, cos, tan, sine opposite cosec, cos opposite sec, and tan opposite cot. You have to know all the definitions and how they are related to each other, including their values, including the concept of the like complementary angles and stuff. Complementary angles is very important for your CGL examination. They ask you a lot of questions, both in multiplication as well as in the division and addition subtraction game. Now, similar, you have to go for the identities. The basic identities, there are three basic identities. One having sine and cos, one having sec and tan, the other one having cosec and cot. So from there, you can figure out six more identities, the shorter ones. Using those, you get, but again, identities may, from wherever you learn, focus a little bit on value putting approach as well. And again, please understand, when you are learning value putting, don't get carried away with only value putting approach, because that is also something that I've noticed like on a regular basis every year, like with students. When you teach, when a teacher kind of teaches this value putting approach, every student tends to go for only value putting approach. That is also not a right approach. You must have the understanding of solving questions using identities as well. So you need to know both these things. Both these things must be very, 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 very much like you must be comfortable solving. Like if I ask you a question, I ask you to solve a question using, like let's say you are comfortable in value putting, but if I'm asking you to solve it using normal like identity, you should be able to do that. And the vice versa thing, and also the vice versa thing. Similarly, sir, next comes the associated angles. Let me say this, 2023 onwards, suddenly this thing has gained a lot of traction. 2024, 2023, 2025 as well. In prelims also, they have asked a lot of questions from associated angles. Associated angles means what? The higher angles, 1020 degrees, right? 560 degrees. These type of angles, they are asking a lot of questions like this. What is the value of tan minus 1020 degrees? I guess 2023 the question is. So those type of questions that requires that all sine tan cos concept, that is called associated angles, very important, requires a whole class. So if you don't know this, please go through this, very, very important. Same has been the case with like advanced identities. 2023 onwards, actually SSC has put a lot of focus on these two topics are part of class 11th syllabus. If you like look at the NCERT, they have put a lot of focus on these two topics. Advanced identities mean it will consist of your compound angles, sums and products. It will have multiple angles, some multiple angles, all those together. This part is very much consists of a lot of formulas. You have to, it will take a little bit of time to get used to those formulas. Remembering the formulas will not work. Only remembering the formulas will not work. You have to understand, apart from remembering the formulas, you have to make sure that you know where to use which formula. That's the most important stuff, and you have to like invest some time in it. Now, last but not the least is height and distance. So again, this is a topic from where you will get question. 100% questions you will get. If you are lucky, you can get more than one question in one shift as well. And why I'm saying lucky, because if you have prepared properly, you will get 100. It is not very lengthy and not very difficult. Conceptually also easy, and like solution wise also not very lengthy, not very calculative. It can be done very, very, very easily if you know what you are doing. If you know what you are doing, it can be done in a very simple manner. Right? Now, apart from that, based on some identities, sometimes based on advanced identities, mostly based on advanced identities, let me just divert you guys and go for a topic called maxima minima. Maxima minima generally asks you 2 to 3 types of questions. Either it will be based on sine A plus B or cos A plus or A minus B, A plus minus B concept. Otherwise, there is something called rectification. So that is nothing but AM greater than equal to GM inequality questions. Those are also common. Last couple of years, you have or we have seen questions asked in both CGL as well as CHSL from this concept of maximum minimum. I generally take a separate session on this. It doesn't always require a whole session, but at least half an hour or so, you just need to go through the concepts. If you have gone through the concept once, like it's not very difficult. It is nothing very difficult. But the thing is that you need to know the approach. Comes from once you know the advanced identities, just give half an hour or so on this and solve 10, 15, 20 questions on this. And that's all. You don't, but again, why I'm saying this? Because if you don't know this question and you are seeing this for the first time in the exam, then it is a little tricky to solve. But again, if you have done 5, 10 questions like this, I don't think it will give you much trouble. Okay. Now, with that being said, these are the few topics, few types of questions you must do. And please understand, trigonometry is all about remembering formulas, and more than that, it is all about understanding which formula to be used where. I know people who remembers all the formulas but cannot use the formulas properly. Blindly remembering all the formulas also doesn't work. You have to understand this formula can be used where. That is something that you need to figure out. And if you need any help, please feel free to reach out. Okay. Also, now, please understand. So, strategic way, I have given you some tips and tips over here. This is something that you can definitely follow. This is like kind of my tips, you can say. Yes, you see, trigonometry problems, especially those covering basics and height and distance, are often formula based and quick to solve. Okay? So always try to figure those out and try to solve them first. Generally, if you have 3 questions or 4 questions in your paper, let's say 3. So generally, 2 out of those 3 will be very, very simple, very, very easy to solve. I will always suggest to solve those 2 first. And the third one you can take a look later on. Basically, though, that third question can be of either associated angles or advanced identities, a little tricky. But those 2 questions, the height and distance one or the simple direct basic ratio or basic identities one, that will be very simple to solve. Clear, sir? So with that being said, this will be your winning approach, and this is like what I'm literally saying. This is just focus on your basics and focus on your accuracy. These 2 are the key words here. Perfect. And you see the last line, don't think it is a very high ROI topic. If you think about this, so do not even, for those, this is I'm saying this to especially those who are thinking of leaving trigonometry, because I know I have like already from this year's batch I've got like at least 3-4 feedbacks, sir. Can we leave the identities part of trigonometry because that's a little tricky. I'm saying to everybody, if you ever think in those lines, if any thought of along those lines come, always think the ROI, return on investment on trigonometry, is very, very high. Meaning how many chapters you need to do against how many questions you get, how many questions you need to solve or you need to practice versus how many questions you get in your exam. That ratio is much higher in case of trigonometry, much higher than most of the other topics. Okay, now with that being said, thank you so much. This was the short and brief session. We will do some questions based on these topics. Based on these topics, as I just discussed with you guys, we will solve a few questions from here in tomorrow's session. Tomorrow again, I'll see you guys at 5. Till then, please take care and bye-bye from my end. Thank you so much. Take care and bye-bye, sir. If you have loved the session, again, just a quick request, please hit the like. And if you have any queries, any feedback, feel free to comment down in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to reach out. So take care. Thank you and bye-bye, sir.